Okay.
Think that's the mark on the corner, guys. We could be on
Recording live.
At least Monday morning, the 13th of December through Sunday, the 19th. It's episode number 41 of our weekly. I'm not sure if it's called a podcast. Podcasts are supposed to be audio. I looked up the definition, but you can listen and then we become a podcast. Otherwise, it's the SBAU Astro Hour. I'm Ron Heron, proud to be the host for a while here. Is it something I said? Lost the cat. So it may be a vlog or podcast, your choice. Our weekly Monday morning, 11 to noon, South Coast Longtime Astronomy and Telescope Club, Santa Barbara Astronomical Unit, getting the guys together here since we're under shutdown anyway for going on 2 years in our man caves and computer dens. Can't believe we've done 41. Be about 3 months before we're up to speed for a whole year, but we got stuff to talk about for the next hour, and you can watch on YouTube and see all the archive versions, the other 41 behind us, I guess. It's a little more than a week away from winter solstice, gentlemen, as you probably know. About the same time they're going to launch the JWST out of South America. We're going to talk about Geminid Trio, the twins, and the Gemini meteor shower. Leonard, the incredible passing comet, which is C2021A1, is passing the Earth, or at least it's pretty close to us, and then it's going to go under Venus, and we'll talk about that. The Milky Way's got a thin gas filament feather. What in the world is that about? We'll ask our president, who I'll introduce you to here in a minute. And Mars appearing in the morning sky. Let's meet the gang on screen, ladies and gentlemen. President for life, probably, Jerry Wilson. The Vladimir Putin of astronomy.
Thank you very much.
Nobody else is going to run. I'm VP and proud to be, and Jerry's married to Pat Forgy, a very active wife and a great marriage. And Chuck McPartland, our outreach guy, is not with us today for some reason, possibly having computer problems. Maybe he'll join us later. Tom Totten is running things, our webmaster, top left on my screen, married to Suzanne, an artiste. And Bruce Murdoch signed in early, BMK, married to Bonnie. Bruce is also president of the Santa Barbara Theater Organ Society. How you doing, my friend? Out there
very well
with your telescope. And then we have Mr. Tom Whittemore, Westmont College former science instructor and editor of our incredible newsletter.
Good morning.
Likes to permeate the premises with the smell of freshly baked sourdough bread.
Yeah.
And
Two loaves this morning.
Is Monday your big bread baking day, Tom?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
So that starter stuff is sitting over there rising in a bowl covered up overnight.
No, I'm not doing a pre-ferment this morning. I baked for a couple of friends today. Basically a whole wheat with rye. There's rye in it. So I'm experimenting with what they call soakers right now.
Okay.
So I soak different kinds of grains and then introduce them to the bread later.
Just as I mentioned, Bruce was the president of the Theater Organ Society. You're a bird watcher, and among the bird watching community here. Mm-hmm. Is this time of the year to go out and find these twitters?
Yeah, so on January the 1st will be a Christmas bird count. We do this every year, and for one day, we try to see as many species as we can. In general, we're usually in the top 5 in the entire country.
Wow.
We have a lot of volunteers here going out and, hoofing it to look for the birds. I have a couple of really good friends that I do up at the McCoy Reservoir or off of Stork Road, not too far from where Jerry lives, and did a lot of nice birds there. What's been really encouraging in the last year or so is that I've seen a number of roadrunners, and so have other people. So that bird may be coming back. They used to be prevalent. We'd see them go through the backyard all the time. But earlier this year, Maureen and I saw one building a nest. So it's a really good sign. We're going
to have to start a blog or a podcast for bird watching if you can get through.
There are several in Santa Barbara already. The Audubon Society is very active here.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you a bird watcher?
What's that?
Are you a
Not so
birder?
much, just what happens to fly into my bird feeders.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
So let's start off the astronomy thing with a pretty picture with
Okay.
the Earth during the solar eclipse of last weekend
Over Antarctica.
Oh, way down at the
over
bottom.
Antarctica.
Well, now that's
Yeah.
an artist rendering, but it's based on a photo from space, right? Can you find that, Tom Totten? And
No, this is a photograph.
That's a photograph.
Yeah.
really? Well, I just saw a big blotch on the bottom of the Earth. There
Oh,
it is.
wow.
That's it?
That's
Read the title.
that's the shadow of the moon,
Okay, so it's a single
Pretty neat.
picture. It's not a
and
movie.
that's Antarctica. You can also see right exactly in the middle of the disk, you can see a hazy white spot
Right.
Uh-huh.
extending from Madagascar west. Is that west? Yeah, west. No, east. East from
Okay.
Madagascar. And that is the direct reflection of the sun on the Earth's oceans, shining right back at the satellite. This was taken from the Discover.
Wow, that's an amazing shot.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, Jerry, which Lagrangian point is Discover at? Is it at a point?
It's not at a point. This looks like it's a synchronous orbit
Yeah.
from the size of the disk. And
So
You know,
that
this
shiny
is the-
spot would be in the Indian Ocean, huh, Jerry?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the lower Indian Ocean.
How far out is that camera?
23,000 miles.
Oh, geocentric.
Oh, it says it's 1.6 miles from Earth. Kilometers. from Earth.
Kilometers.
Okay, so that might be in a Lagrange point.
Yeah, it is, because you multiply by 0.6 and you get miles, and that's about 1 million.
Yeah. Okay.
Really? Okay. Well,
Nice
that's-
shot, though.
Yeah. One of the few questions I used to send to Astronomy magazine is why doesn't the Earth, at least with all that water, act like a Christmas tree ornament, which is curved and takes light and focuses it as a bright spot? And so why doesn't the space shuttle going over the ocean get a glare? And you never see that looking down.
So it does happen, and you're seeing it right here. That's a specular reflection off the surface. But when you look at a Christmas tree bulb, it acts like a demagnifying lens that makes it look like it's far away and a point. If it does specular reflection, it looks like a point reflection. It makes it small. But we do get that. That's what causes Earth shine, is when you can see the dark side of the moon when it's a new crescent. It's that light shining off the Earth's oceans.
Would it be fair to say that what we're looking at now shows the shadow of the moon, which is behind this camera because the sun's behind it, and therefore it would be shining
Right.
this.
Mhm.
Okay, and the moon is pretty much in line with the ecliptic of our equator, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay,
A few degrees.
Yeah, but it tilts.
it tilts, and
And
that's
so
why we.
but the camera here is 1.6 million kilometers from Earth. And the moon is, what is that?
250,000.
600,000, well, that's miles, 250,000 miles. So it's about 600,000
Right.
kilometers. So the moon is much closer than the satellite, but it's not lined up with the satellite.
It's about 416,000 kilometers.
Yeah, okay, about 500,000 kilometers.
So the 200 or 300 researchers stationed on Antarctica would have been the only ones who have had the sky go dark on them.
Well, no, there were tours that go down there. If you wanted to see this eclipse, you can pay $30,000 or something and go on a cruise boat that'll take you to where the eclipse is.
Would it be safe to
But
say
they can
that?
only go to the edge of Antarctica. And
Oh,
this
no,
is
you
not on
get-
the edge.
Yeah, you get off the cruise ship once you get to Antarctica, or you can
Okay.
fly there from Argentina.
But a full eclipse, a full solar eclipse, the sun was totally blacked out for a few minutes, just
Yeah.
2 minutes, wasn't it? Wow,
It's what?
2 minutes of blackout, right?
Yeah, this was a fairly short eclipse.
Yeah, but because it's going across the bottom of the Earth and it just happened to touch Antarctica. Interesting. Although I did hear it also touched what, South America or Australia or maybe
You
we
know,
see it in
the
South
Earth's
Africa?
orbit and the moon's orbit around the Earth are elliptical, and sometimes the moon is closer to the Earth, and sometimes it's farther away from the Earth. When it's real close to the Earth, it takes the moon. Let's see, the moon looks bigger, So it takes longer for the sun to get out from behind the moon. So you get the longer eclipse from that.
Okay,
If the moon is very far away from the Earth in its orbit, then the moon looks smaller, and it doesn't take very long for the sun to get out from behind it. So
right
you see
Annular
that sort
eclipse
of.
then.
So right
Yeah.
after this, we get a new moon for everybody on the Earth,
No, it's yeah.
I would think. Can we go?
The new moon occurs at the eclipse.
That's right.
Exactly.
Right.
Tom Totten, can you call up Jerry's December lineup? It goes
December-
from upper left to lower right. And it's very interesting site. This is for the whole month series. It starts with Asteroid. It's asteroids, planets, and I think one moon, if you can call that up. Give people a quick idea here of what to look at and look for. We'll be talking about Mars appearing in the morning sky and
Oh, yeah, okay.
Geminid meteors this week, and Leonard, last of Leonard as it goes by us. You can't find that?
I've got
Your
it.
lineup?
Just
That's on the
found
first
it.
page.
Okay, well, it did show everything from
Where'd it go?
Neptune to Jupiter to Saturn, Uranus, Venus, of course, and
Where'd
a
it
couple
go?
of asteroids, Pallas and Ceres.
Somehow I'm missing this thing. Hold on. Where did it go? Let's see.
Different email.
Oh, on Zoom, if you have so many windows that you have to click on a box that says show all windows, and then you open up even more windows. And it was hidden there. Yeah, somewhere, I think.
That's why you're webmaster and not me.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're the man that figures it out even under pressure as we're doing the show, man.
I'm still
You got that
having a
problem.
problem finding that thing. Where's my extra windows here? I'll be
You
darned.
need
That's
two
what's bizarre.
monitors.
And you didn't
I
get
have
the
three. I have
cartoon.
3 monitors actually right now,
Oh.
Bruce.
Okay.
Well,
where are you?
let's
where is
just
that?
describe it. It
I can't
goes from
see it.
upper left to lower right for some reason. I'm not sure what that means, but they were
Somehow
all
it's
showing,
hidden.
they were
Well,
all
while
showing.
you're looking for that, let's go to the feather.
Oh, you want to do the feather? That needs some explanation, my friend. Let me tell you what you sent. Milky Way's thin gas filament extending from near the galactic center. It may be connected. Let's see. Got to turn on my other light here. There we are. To some of the Milky Way spiral arms, 2 of the arms. Reports from November 10th issue of Astrophysics Journal. First time it was spotted. Looks like a bare barb of featherweight. I guess it's made of stars. Is it in this picture? And
Yeah, it's in the picture. Yeah, Tom's got the cursor right on it. That partial arm that goes from the inner arm out to another farther out arm. That's what they refer to as the feather. This is the continuing process of trying to map the Milky Way whilst being in the Milky Way, which is a non-trivial task. We can't just take a photograph and see what it is. So this is what our galaxy looks like so far if you face onto it. It's a barred spiral, and they've just identified, there's a lot of arms and subarms here, but see, the arms go from the center all the way out to the rim, except this feather that goes between these 2 arms.
well, what's the difference between that and a spur, which we're in? We're in the Orion spur. Isn't that like a feather?
I guess it could be, maybe it's just a semantic difference.
Well,
But there are a number of things that stick out. You can see other structures between spiral arms, but for some reason they're calling this the feather.
okay, well, we must have seen
Isn't
it.
the
in-
Orion spur at the 12 o'clock?
Well, really? We're up in the
No,
top part
no,
of
that's
this?
a question.
12 o'clock. You mean at the top of this?
Right,
Yeah,
there's
up
another,
above.
Huh. Well, I don't know how we.
We would be farther out, I think, from that. The partial one you see on the above is not far enough out, maybe. Let's see, it's about,
Well, they named it
that's
after.
about right. It's about 50% out.
Okay.
yeah, we're probably around where it's about the 9 o'clock position on that thin little arm.
That big bar in the center, man, turns with everything. Named apparently after a glacier that feeds the sacred India river called Ganges. It's the Gangotri wave. That was at the end of your notes, Jerry, in case anybody wants to know. So we got to figure out what's the difference between a spur and a filament is. And it's all stars, right? Just a little more concentrations. It's like a mini arm, I guess.
Yeah.
And it goes all the way out. Just like the big arms.
It just goes between those two arms. The arms go out. It's and the discoverer claims it has a wavy feature to it, which is not obvious to me in that photograph. But it's a nice construct for how our galaxy looks.
Well, for the life of me, gentlemen, before we let this go, I can't see that turning any direction except clockwise because everything's trailing, in that direction. But nevertheless, we're not going to go there. You didn't find the lineup there, Tom Totten? Jerry's
let me address your spiral on motion thing. The view is, and correct me if I'm wrong, well, Chuck's not here, but the perception I have is that these spiral arms in a galaxy are formed pretty much the same way that a traffic jam forms on the freeway. And if you're heading down one way on the freeway and there is a pulse of congestion that moves backwards through the freeway, opposite to the motion you're trying to go, as people stop and then start again. It compresses and then it opens back up. That wave moves backwards through the motion of the particles through the cars. So if these are that type of compression wave, which I think they are, then they would be moving backwards compared to the matter, which way the matter is rotating. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If the rest of the gentlemen do, I don't. I'm sorry. It seems to me that the arms are trailing.
Yeah, it looks like a fireworks pinwheel thing that rotates the way you're claiming. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
but that may not be the way that it's moving.
Huh.
By the way, I Googled Orion Spur because that's where we're located.
Yes.
And you can find it at orionsarm.com, ORIONSARM. And it's showing the where we are is the same thing that they're thinking is this feather.
Really?
Well, they're going to get it renamed the Orion Feather.
It's right above. Yeah, see, Perseus is the arm is the big one below it, and the Sagittarius arm is the big one above it. I'm just looking at this other graphic here. Orionsarm.com.
Would it be fair to say that most, if not all, spiral galaxies in the universe, including ours, have either two big arms or four with little spurs in between, or could they have an infinite number of arms, dozens?
Well, if you squint your eyes at this picture, you can see it immediately becomes two dominant arms.
Two dominant arms, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but there are some
little stragglers.
There's some that have four, though, big ones.
But if you have an elliptical galaxy, they don't have arms. They just got a big lump.
Right.
Yeah. And that I don't understand at all. How come they don't just all collapse if they're not? You got to be moving to keep away from the black hole in the center, I would think. But what do I know?
Okay.
Vice President.
Okay. We've exposed our ignorance long enough. Let's move on.
Tom, can you call up my favorite cartoon that Jerry sent us? Dang! It's the Anatidaephobia, a terrible fear.
Oh, there it is.
Now we got, of all things. Oh, here we come. Oh, there it is. Look carefully, everybody. Enlarge that photograph. It's Anatidaephobia. It's the fear that somewhere and somehow a duck is watching you. You can run, but you can never hide. There it is on the other side of the airplane window. And what?
Pretty fast duck.
Yeah. They're pretty gentle creatures and they're delicious. I haven't had one in years.
It's enough heating. You don't have to cook it.
Well, Tom, it looks like you found Jerry's December lineup. You want to throw that on as long as we mentioned it and run down? I'm not
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
exact different times. Ceres, that's an asteroid, upper left. Uranus, the planet, and then that's a half a moon or so, right in the middle, going down to the lower right. Neptune above Pallas, another asteroid. Then Jupiter down to Saturn, and Venus. Where's Mars in that?
Mars is in.
This is the evening sky. Mars moved to the morning sky.
Oh, well, can we go there then? Mars appears in the morning sky and get that out of the way?
Yeah.
Yeah, low
Early
in the east.
Okay, early rising astronomers see it just 6 degrees high in the southeast, 1 hour before sunrise in Libra at magnitude 1.6 near Libra's eastern boundary. The nearest bright star is magnitude 2.6 Arcab in Scorpius, just 5 degrees east of Mars, which crosses into Scorpius late in the morning hours. And a couple days from now, it'll move into Ophiuchus, our favorite non-zodiac 13th sign. By December 25th, it'll be in Ophiuchus. Where the heck is Ophiuchus? It's a fun name.
We'll get to that. So right now, Mars subtends 4 seconds of an arc on the sky, which for Mars and for anything is very small. Neptune and Uranus are around 2 and 3 seconds of an arc. So this is really quite far away in its orbit on the other side of the sun. When Mars is in opposition to the sun, for us, it's frequently on the order of 25 arc seconds, about half of Jupiter, which usually shows a 50 arc second disk. So this is very far away. You can spot it as a red star, but you're not going to see much detail on the disk.
Okay. Want to talk
Well,
about
especially
Leonard?
low on the horizon through a lot of our atmosphere.
Yeah, that takes care of it too.
So a morning, I wonder how many people get up in this cold mornings we've been having lately.
I do.
I look out there before I go to bed.
I'll bet you double up too.
It's in the
I go
morning.
to
Huh?
bed like 4 in the morning.
It's really the bane of astronomy, isn't it? Even those giant observatories have to be left cold, don't they?
No, Ron.
Well, no, not now. It's all
it's the joy.
video.
It's the
They
joy.
sit in a warm room in front of a computer terminal.
Yeah.
Not
So
crazy,
I got 4 sightings of Leonard, still with binoculars, and it didn't show me a tail, but rather just a fuzz.
Mhm.
But I was up at 3 in the morning for part of that, 4 in the morning for the next part, and like Jerry said, it's going to whip around. It's going to become an object in the early evening sky in the southwest.
So this week it goes beneath Venus.
Yeah. It'll be tough to see, though. You clearly will need something like binoculars to see it. And again, you're going to be fighting the glow of the setting sun out there. Okay, so it'll be tough. But it's worth trying for. It's not Hale Bob. It's no Hale Bob. It's no Neowise. No.
Hale-Bopp was a comet. I thought it was an asteroid. Maybe
It's an incredible.
No, that
comet.
was mid-90s, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Hale-Bopp?
97, Jerry.
Yeah.
97, because I remember I was interviewing for a full-time position at Ohlone College in Fremont, and I made my whole presentation based on that darn comet, and I got the position. So I did something right. Yeah.
Just occurred to me that comets are always going to be a fuzzball, whereas an asteroid is a pinprick of light, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's the tail that is so beautiful. When you get the tail, there are 2 tails.
The I guess it was the 1800s and before, they called comets bearded stars.
Yeah. Bearded stars. Yeah.
So as you can see from the diagram that I supplied, that the Comet Leonard is moving very rapidly. It starts at the upper right at December 12, and today, December 13, it's moved significantly. The 14th and the 15th, and by the 17th, it'll be essentially out of sight.
Yeah. That was one of the problems chasing this thing in the morning sky. I couldn't anticipate exactly where it might be because it was really flying fast. It was really moving fast. I used to have Arcturus as my anchor star to find it. And boy, that went away in a matter of a couple of mornings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
But how close to Earth and how close to Venus? And has it gone by both of us, or is it coming by this week?
It's only an apparent closeness to Venus. It's not.
Yeah.
It's in the background.
Yeah. Actually, somewhere it says how far it is from Venus.
Mm.
Does science plot where the thing came from and where it'll probably go back to? It's the Oort cloud, isn't it? The big shell around.
I think Leonard's on a hyperbolic orbit, apparently, so it's not going to come back. It's just going to go off into space.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
we lose them. We lose our comets.
And then they think it was as far away as like 3,500 AUs, and it took like 35,000 years to get near us. And Jerry's right. I think it will not come back. It's not a periodic,
Well, how do we know it's not another Oumuamua?
Well, it could be, but I think the idea is that it was in the Oort cloud and it got bumped
Yeah.
by proximity to something else, and it got a new orbit assigned to it.
Mhm.
Okay, but as we've discussed before, gentlemen, at any one time, there's anywhere from 3, 5, 6, 7, 8 comets in the sky. How about that Churyumov? Is it still out there? I know you didn't send any notes on it.
BC.
Where
No,
is
it's
it?
still there. There's, like I said before, you can even find Halley's comets. There are thousands of comets in the sky.
Yeah.
But it
you
goes
need
back.
you need telescopes to find them.
Okay.
Big
fascinating.
telescopes.
Yeah.
Leonard.
Yeah. Hey, this one, don't forget, was discovered about a year ago near Tucson.
By a man named Leonard.
My guess is with a 61-inch up in the Santa Catalinas, because it was 19th magnitude, which is far dimmer than Pluto.
Wow. Fascinating stuff. So
There's a picture of what on December 17, what Comet Leonard will look like
Okay.
compared to the horizon,
right.
or where its position will be compared to the horizon, and it shows the glow of the dusk that you're going to be fighting against to see it.
Right.
And it
And
shows
again-
it glow Venus.
Yeah. And again, Jerry, I'll just point out that the best diagram that I saw was in the December issue of Sky and Telescope, showing you where it would be in the morning with reference to stars, and then
Yeah.
it's in the evening sky.
Yeah.
And boy, is it going to fight the glow. You're right.
Tom, the picture I'm referring to is farther down in the talking points.
That
When is
date, the date you mentioned is Friday, the 17th.
Going
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, here. Okay.
there.
By the way, day after Beethoven's birthday. Big day coming up this Thursday.
This
Thursday
is,
big-
you can see Comet Leonard down there and this is about all you see is really bright things, because this is an accurate view of how bright the sky is going to be. There's Venus, and then Comet Leonard, they're heading for the horizon to come up in the morning and in the south.
Are most comets at the center of those nova, those blurs, about the same size, maybe a typical asteroid, or could some of them be the size of a Ceres or a Vespa? Is that the name of the other?
I don't think there's a comet that's the size of Ceres. I mean, that's 600 miles in diameter.
That would be a major thing to
That
happen.
would be a major thing.
Okay.
But we have landed on a couple of them. I don't recall the diameter of the nucleus. Do any of you guys recall that?
No, I don't. We need Chuck here.
Yeah.
How could you tell? You can't see it.
Well, no, we can land. Well, we've landed spacecraft on some of them and flown in formation with them in a couple of cases.
And yet
So-
those-
Brought back samples in at least one case.
Yeah.
the
So
tails,
we know the actual size of some of the things.
well, now the tail of a comet is the comet is a dirty snowball. So the tails are made of either dust or frozen ice, right?
Or ions.
Ions,
You can have two tails. It has the dust tail and the ion tail.
Yeah.
and they
I was
always
just, Ron, I was just going to point out, if people were trying to find this thing, again, I'm going to recommend binoculars. That star Altair there is the Lucida, the brightest star, in Aquila, the eagle. Okay. That star sets pretty much due west. Okay. It's pretty much right on the celestial equator. So if you were to try to find this a little bit later in the week, I would star hop Altair down to Venus and make a little hockey stick, go straight down under Venus. So like that. It's kind of like a little hockey stick. Or for your golfers, it could be a golf club.
Yeah. This applies to December 17, which is 4 days away. And and Comet Leonard is moving very rapidly. So the hockey stick won't work one day.
Yeah. It was tough. It was tough for me to track that guy every morning.
Wow.
Plus, it was 47 degrees here. It makes it cold when you're doing that.
Was it 47 degrees?
Not for me.
This morning was 47 degrees when I went to
Yeah,
bed.
I grew up in Indianapolis. This is nothing.
Yeah, I know.
You're in SoCal now. This is a cold snap.
Yeah.
Yep, you're right. We're not used to it. Anybody
We
want
used
to
to
talk?
call Indianapolis Indianopolis because our headquarters were in Kokomo. It's 60 miles north of Indianapolis.
I know exactly where that is. I rode my bike from Indy to Kokomo. And my brother used to work there up at Delta.
With the sky high price though of energy, I'm wondering how people are really freezing out there, you know? Can't afford the gas or the electricity. Not here probably, but anybody want
We
to
always refer to Kokomo as it was spelled backwards, and I'm not going to say that.
Mokamok?
Omakok.
Yeah.
On that note. So Venus, when does it go under Venus? Is that Friday you're talking about, President Jerry?
The 17th is
Friday. That's Friday, Jerry.
Friday, yeah.
Okay. And there's still a meteor shower. Anybody want to go there? Geminids.
Oh, hold, we got a comment from Tim Crawford here, Ron.
Uh-oh. What's
It says, in a Laurel and Hardy movie, the prison teachers asked Hardy what a comet is. He said, it's a star with a tail on it. He asked Laurel for an example. He said, Rin Tin Tin.
Thank you, Tim.
That's like
Always-
a Tom Whittemore joke.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
No, he's, yeah.
As long as we're at a point here of likeness, Tom, can you call up something I'd like an explanation from Jerry, a cartoon where the guy is crawling along the dry desert and he's thirsty and cold and I forget what it said at the top. He's got a choice. Can you find the one where he chooses Bortle one
Bortle 1, yeah.
over
Oh, yeah.
food and water? There it is. What the heck is that? I don't know. I missed it. If whatever Bortle 1 is, 21 miles.
That's a
away-
very, very dark sky.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a calibration of skies. They use the Bortle numbers. Yeah.
and why is he taking it?
He
Because
wants
he's
to
an
see
astronomer.
stars.
Yeah, he's an astronomer, and that's a goal for amateur astronomers, is to have a
Yeah.
really clear dark sky.
Well, that double O word, Boetus, that came up last week, that's also a
OETs,
void.
yeah.
That's one of the
Yeah,
bigger.
that's the name of a constellation.
Right.
Oh, it is.
That
little-
houses Arcturus, that was basically becoming my anchor star when Leonard was first appearing, in the morning sky.
Well, Leonard is also known as C2021A1. Does that mean the
Mhm.
first one discovered this year? You suppose?
Just
A1?
about, yes. It was discovered on January 3rd at Mount
That-
Lemmon
Yeah.
by a guy named Leonard. Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
that would make it
Mhm.
A1. So the other comets of the sky are 2021 A2, A3, A4, et cetera, probably. Okay.
So Ron, can you see the Bartle scale here? How it goes from 1 to 8 or 9, it looks like. And
Yeah.
8 or 9 is like city sky.
Mhm.
Bortle 1 is, you can see the Milky Way easily.
So that's a destitute astronomer in the desert that just
Yeah,
wants to like-
Bortle 1 would be basically southern Utah. So,
Is there, so Bortle, there's a Bortle 2 on this, Bortle 3,
yeah, you can see like the little shades there, Ron. Can you see them?
these are degrees of looking or seeing the sky, right?
Darkness of background,
Yes. Yeah.
contrast, sky contrast. So Bortle 1, Bortle 2, that would be Mauna Kea in Hawaii.
Yeah.
I
Or
think we might have had a Bortle 1 sky once when we were up at the Hollister Ranch
uh-huh.
at an outreach. That was the one time and only time I've been able to see Andromeda naked eye and see the dust lanes in it. It's
Wow.
actually quite big.
Yes, it's eight full moons across. And
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say 4 or 5 degrees.
So that's the explanation of why the guy in the desert who's thirsty and hungry and tired and ragged is turning left.
when I was a little kid growing up near the Angeles National Forest, we had Bortle 1 skies on, and
Bortle 1.
very impressive sight.
Who was Bortle? Anybody know? Interesting
no.
stuff.
Whoever made up the scale.
Yeah.
There it is. It's like a physics class or a meteorology class, or who knows. Fascinating stuff. Winter solstice.
Nice.
Does anybody know the date of southern sun on the southern Cancer, Tropic of Cancer? That's coming up, isn't it?
December 21st.
Is it the 21st? So it's next week sometime.
Yeah, first day of winter.
And we're all ready. I assume they're going to televise the launch of the
Webb.
JWST. And for 30 days, everybody's going to hold their breath.
Right.
Over 1,000 things have got to happen successfully, and there's no way to fix it. Can you imagine if that sucker broke, didn't work? $10 billion.
Well, they delayed it so much, it's probably going to work really well, Ron. So just look up.
You never know in nature, though, gentlemen.
Yeah, the problem, of course, is we can't go out there and do anything about it. It's the origami telescope. It unfolds.
But you remember when they had the problem with the mirror on the Hubble and they had to go up and fix it? Apparently, that was a difference of microscopic, less than a hair.
Right.
Oh yeah, wavelengths of light, which is like 100th of the diameter of a hair.
Well,
they tested it. They tested it here on Earth with basically faulty settings, and
they
faulty test apparatus. Yeah, the mirror they were using and tested against was faulty.
Yeah,
this sucker has to fold out 18 hexagon shaped, gold plated, and click into place right to the hair. I mean, I don't know.
They all have actuators on them, so they can adjust them after the fact.
Oh, they do.
Yeah,
I know. According to 60 Minutes last night, they had a whole 15-minute piece on it. They have shakers. They can send it something that'll, if something locked up and that big heat shield got stuck and wouldn't unfold, they could shake it loose.
Oh.
We're not going to be there. All right, gentlemen, you want to talk about a meteor shower? Geminis, they've been going, haven't they, for the last week or two?
Yeah.
By the way, I looked up Bortle, John E. He wrote a paper in February 2001 on, what happened to it here? Gauging light pollution, the Bortle Dark Sky Scale, Sky and Telescope magazine.
Yeah, I know Mike Summerman uses the scale out at Westmont, when he's interested in, capturing some nice images with the 24.
So that poor, starving, thirsty desert dweller in the middle of the day is a real hardcore astronomer.
He's got priorities right.
You want to talk about Geminid twins? Gemini climbing high in the sky. I guess you got to stay up till midnight. Out at the twins, the heads, Bright Castor and Pallas. Easy to spot, 43 degrees northeast of Orion's belt. And this evening, we can zoom in on Gemini's northern foot, Mu, which is Mu, and Eta Geminorum. Is that 2 stars or 2 what? Nearby?
Mu Geminorum would be a single star, I think.
All right. Nearby are a couple of clusters. There's M35, I believe, and NGC 2158. Taking over to describe locate.
They're both very nice open clusters.
Oh, they're beautiful. Yeah.
Okay. But apparently the Geminid shower is peaking this week, right?
Oh yeah, these are the Chuck loves.
Yep.
That's the radio. Radiance right there at the top. That's the source.
Yeah.
Because
And that
that's not how Gemini rises. Gemini rises, the twins rise kind of on their sides.
Yeah, like the other picture showed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's still a leftover of a comet tail that we're going through, right?
Well, it's an asteroid, then Chuck knows a lot about this one. It was Phaethon, right, Jerry?
Yeah.
Phaethon, yeah.
Huh.
The comet, when it goes around the sun in its orbit, it populates the orbit with cast off debris, sort of like a wake. And then our orbit on Earth passes through that wake. So we intersect the orbit that the comet has, even though the comet's not there at the moment.
Yeah, that's more or less how it looks like, comes up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
the other picture was looking west. That's why it looked kind of strange, I think.
Okay.
apparently you got to really be an insomnia victim because it's, I guess, between midnight and dawn. We see most of these coming around 4 a.m., the top notch 150 an hour of these meteors.
Yeah.
And Castor, the star, not the friendly ghost, that's Casper, looking away from the radiant, 150 meteors at its peak. But your note said look away from the radiant because you somehow miss it. It's like you can't look right at a star, naked eye. You got to look to the
You use averted vision.
Yeah. Interesting stuff.
Yeah, well, I've already seen several errants, from this comet. Some of them very, very bright, very nice.
But this is every year in December.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Gemini twins. Okay. A couple of big asteroids.
35 in there. It's an absolutely beautiful open cluster.
What in the world are you calling up, Tom Totten? What is that long
That's
list?
M35.
M35 is a
Mm-hmm.
So,
talk about
and
it.
then there's the other one they were talking about. What's that one called?
2158. The one in the background. Is that
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
kind of neat to be so
further
close.
back and dimmer, but it's always a treat to get it.
So this is 0.8 by 0.8 degrees here.
Yeah. So binoculars will just make that thing look radiant. A small telescope would be great. I would always target that with the 8-inch out at Westmont for the folks.
We're not watching meteors with binoculars.
Yeah.
Good luck catching one of those.
Yeah. That's a
But-
really nice image at 2158. So
So is that still,
what's that, Tom?
is it still considered an open cluster?
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's just further back. Okay, I think it's something like 5 times as far away as 35 is. And so it's dim, okay? But you often see it as a little hazy patch in the field of view of 35.
By the way, 35 is also called the shoe buckle cluster.
Mm-hmm. Because it's near Propus. Propus means ankle. Yeah.
Okay.
Huh. And this
Which
is
I think
all
is Mu Geminorum. I think it's the same thing.
all in Gemini.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the sign we're in right now? People born in December, Gemini?
Oh, no. No, the sign we're in now is probably
Capricorn?
Yeah, it could be Capricorn.
Sagittarius.
Or more likely, Jerry, Sagittarius, I would say.
Because they usually change around the 20th, don't they?
Yeah,
Everyone?
don't believe what they say in astrology. Believe where the sun is. Okay.
Yeah.
Technically, I was born on 17 July, and so I'm supposed to be a Cancer, but the sun is in Gemini, so I think of myself as a Geminid.
And there's 13 signs to the zodiac, not 12.
Right.
And the 13th one is your mythical Ophiuchus.
Yeah, the serpent bearer.
You're talking about that you're seeing a lot of meteors already, and you can see the fireballs that are hitting the Earth.
Yeah, Tom, I'm probably seeing some of what you got there. They've been spectacular, believe me.
So that Phaethon comet or whatever it was, it left a lot of big junk, huh?
Yeah. So I wish we had Chuck here because he could talk about the composition of that asteroid. Jerry, do you have any information on that thing? The asteroid that caught? Oh, the asteroid that caused this mess.
Oh, no, no.
Yeah,
It was an asteroid. It wasn't a comet.
that's what they say. Yeah.
Asteroid that came complete with
Well,
dirty snowballs.
An asteroid, fluffing off, from its surface, some of the congealed dust and stuff. Okay.
Well, you want to talk about asteroids? There's one called Nysa, NYSA, and Pallas. That's a totally different subject, I guess. But
Oh, there we go. Tom's got that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those
very
are,
first.
Jerry?
Yeah, first sentence is a big one, huh? The Geminids are a unique meteor shower, in that the identified parent body is not a comet.
About how many showers are there a year? There's the Leonid, that's 2.
You can count on at least one a month,
except that comets and asteroids are very closely related. And
Yeah.
one view is that asteroids are just comets that have lost their volatiles. They can no longer produce a tail like that,
Mm-hmm.
but they can still exfoliate pebbles and stuff.
Well, we've all heard the theory that our oceans came from rocks that were filled with water from space. Those rocks wouldn't have been asteroids, would they? They would have had to have been
They
comets.
could have been asteroids. Ceres has a tremendous amount of water on it. Apparently, roughly
More
equivalent.
than we have.
Yeah, about equivalent roughly to what we have on Earth. It could have come from something like that, but the isotope ratios don't match up with any single source, as far as I know. So it may be a blend of different sources that we have. And I just read an article that a lot of the water may have come directly from the sun, which I don't understand yet. But
But all that hydrogen and oxygen floating around in space, the oxygen at least came from an exploded star.
yeah,
They just naturally meet and form H2O molecules.
novas produce a lot of water.
Okay. And the interesting thing about that is that it puts out fires, whereas the hydrogen is flammable. Right?
It doesn't put out that kind of fire.
No, I guess not. Yeah, you're right. Wow. What are we looking at? What is this?
This is an image that was reconstructed from the light curve of Nysa. So
Nice.
yeah, so you can take detailed light curves, and from that observation, you can construct a 3D model, and that's what you're looking at. They're not highly detailed,
Yeah,
but this is it for Nysa.
it looks
In
very
fact, it
close.
could be two of them. They're sort of stuck together, right? They're not.
That's a speculation, yeah. But I don't see any real narrowing point that could be it. So, but
You see
know,
the
this-
dark area through the middle there.
Yeah,
Two bright
Yeah.
spots.
yeah, it could be.
So it's not
Because they're
red.
modeling both shape and albedo.
Huh. Swear it's a dead ringer for a new molar I'm getting put in at the dentist. That's my x-ray, right?
Right.
Wow.
Look like mashed potatoes tonight.
Okay. When you posted it, your title, Jerry, said NYSE. That was a mistake I learned because that stands for New York Stock Exchange. I
Did
got
I
it.
put NYSE?
Yeah.
Oh, nice A. It's an A.
Yeah.
I'm sure that the spell checker corrected it
could have
from
been.
NYSE to N,
Yeah, my spell checker goes nuts on these
Yeah.
astronomy
Names.
Let me just save this. So I was one of the first people to get a spell checker when they came out on the Mac 2s back in 1990 or something, about that. By popular demand, everybody voted I should have a spell checker. And in about 6 months, I'd completely corrupted it because you can correct the spelling in the spell checker. And so I have my own opinions on things.
I imagine you're not a big fan of crossword puzzles if you have a problem.
No, I do a lot of crossword puzzles. I love
Yeah.
those things.
Really?
My
Right.
biggest error in crossword puzzles is spelling errors. And I get the thing right, but that's why crossword puzzles are better, because you have to do it two ways. It has to fit both words. So that's one way I catch spelling errors, but somehow I still persist in making them.
Yeah.
One person claimed that the proof that I'm a PhD physicist is my inability to spell English words.
You speak German?
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Da.
Russian.
That's Russian.
Well, when I got a PhD, you had to demonstrate fluency in any two of the following three languages: French, German, or Russian.
Mhm.
And so I did French and German.
Okay.
But atrophy over the years has made it so I have to thumb through the phrase manual when I'm in a French restaurant to get to write what I want. So I've forgotten most of it.
But questions occur to me about these foreign languages, especially Spanish, which is so simple and cut and dried. Any combination of letters is only pronounced one way. I wonder if they have crossword puzzles in Spanish.
Of course they
Of
do.
course. Yeah. Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah.
I wonder how
Try
many
a
synonyms.
crossword puzzle in Polish, Ron.
Polish crossword puzzle. Tom, you're going to want to call one of those up next week. The other asteroid, not as bright as Pallas. What do you want to tell us about that before we leave the subject, President Jerry? The third largest, 1 hour after sunset, it sits 6.2.
The reason these are mentioned here is because they're easily available in the sky this time of the year. So if you want to try and find these objects so that you can say you've observed them, then you can get a finder chart or look up the ephemeris on the web, and then do some star hopping or put it into your go-to system and look at it. But the best way, I think, is to take an image of that area, the same image over several nights, and then you can put together a little video of the asteroid moving. I think that's pretty cool to do.
Well, the very end of your notes, Jerry said that Nysa has occulted a star 3 times.
Yeah, I assume that doesn't mean the same star, but
it says stars 3
yeah,
times.
I was hoping Chuck would be able to comment on that. But,
Yeah.
so he's our member that does the asteroid occultations, and maybe he's recovering from one last night.
He could be asleep right now, but makes me wonder, do the big asteroids have some earthbound telescopes locked on them day and night, 24/7?
No, we don't do it that way. We have very wide field cameras that take pictures, many pictures every night, and track all of the moving objects to correct their orbits. Because orbits of these things are not fixed. It's a multi-body problem. They're weakly coupled to virtually everything else in the solar system, and they get their orbits shifted. And when a comet or an asteroid has volatiles on it, and that gets heated by the sun, that can act like a little rocket engine that pushes on the body and moves it. So the orbits have to be readjusted all the time, so we know if something's heading in toward us. So that's the planetary defense part of the new U.S. Space Force at Vandenberg Force Base. So they don't lock in on a single body and track. They don't have that many telescopes. We do wide field survey images of them, and we track the image.
Okay. All these space probes, we're going to talk about a few of them, missions to Mars and other places, asteroids, in a few minutes to close out. But all these space probes, every time we send something up, we depend on 3 spots on the Earth, do we not? Where there are radio telescopes. One is up in America, the other is in Australia, and the third is somewhere in the Northern Hemisphere on the other side of the Earth. Do you guys know the 3?
I don't know. We do have remote tracking stations, and we have a network, the Deep Space Network, that tracks our satellites for us.
Oh.
I know some of them are in the U.S., one's in Spain. I don't know if one's in India. We do have them in Australia. They're just giant radio telescopes.
Right.
Well, they're actually radio receivers to receive the weak messages from the satellites.
Yeah.
Well, we also have them too. You know?
Yeah.
Do you suppose these other space companies, space providers like UAE, France, have the same locations? Are they in the Southern Hemisphere at all?
I
your
think
track?
there's a lot of collaboration between the different space agencies.
Well, here's what you ended your talking points with, Mr. President. Missions out to Mars, asteroids, and beyond. The UAR, that's United Arab Republic's got one called Hope. China
Mhm.
is still touch and go with Zhurong. Isn't that the one that's on Mars, or is that on the moon? There's Zhurong spacecraft.
No,
That's where?
that's on Mars.
Okay.
I don't know yeah, okay.
Well, there wasn't much there, and I didn't have room left to write everything. Plus the James Webb, which will be launched in a little more than a week on the 22nd, unless they postpone it
Yeah.
again. From
Mhm.
I guess a equatorial orbit. Is that what they use to take off from that area, French Guiana?
That is where they're launching from, and they're going to it is in the plane of the ecliptic. So that's where, and that's basically where it's going to go, out to a Lagrange point behind the Earth.
Yeah. You know, that country is where Papillon was supposedly based. The movie Papillon, remember that?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Devil's
Dustin
Island or
Hoffman.
something.
Devil's Island. In fact,
Yeah.
they used
Steve McQueen. Steve McQueen was in it.
Yeah.
great movie, one of my favorites. French Guiana. It's right next to the major outflow of the Amazon. When I looked on the map, I thought, wow, it's right there.
So
I think the Amazon outflow is in Brazil, isn't it? Or
No, on the East Coast.
yeah, it's on the East Coast.
Yes.
Guyana's up in the north of South America.
Yeah, I know that. And there's three of them all named something Guyana, aren't they? They're still final colonies, or they're just part of France.
Yeah, I don't know the geology of that part of the world. Geography.
It's all jungle. It's a place to launch.
Mhm.
Are we out of time? What could we be talking about a week from now, gentlemen, if you want to look ahead? Gary?
Well, I haven't got anything lined up for the Christmas season.
And look for Santa's sleigh and reindeer.
I'll leave that to the.
The weather forecasters on television, they
Yeah.
show Santa
I
coming
guess
down.
we're going to get some rain here today.
Yeah, right. Well, it's
So
certainly, yes.
So I think the big news next week will probably center on the James Webb,
Oh, yeah.
at least for space probes.
You'd probably be in the middle of the night, wouldn't you guess, that they're going to launch and we'll all have to stay up?
Yeah.
But I
So
got a
the brightest stars in the sky are in the winter. So
Is it? Yeah.
we're getting toward that time when Orion is up in the evening, followed by the dog star by Sirius, the brightest star. So there's a lot to see, weather permitting.
Yeah. You gentlemen are braving the cold to go out with your instruments and get fascinating pictures, some of which
So
get done.
we just poured the floor of my new roll-off roof observatory today
Oh,
in concrete. So, and then now they're putting a tent over it because it's going to rain this afternoon.
are we talking
So Jerry,
about?
how many yards of concrete were involved?
I don't know.
Oh,
Didn't count them.
This is
It's
all
8 by 8 feet slab and about, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches thick.
Now, do you have a big pier that the scope sits on that goes, a big lump of concrete?
It's a metal pier that bolts to the concrete.
But underneath that, do you have a big chunk of concrete, more than just the thickness of the floor?
We have the slab right now, and in the center of the slab is a sonotube, 18-inch diameter sonotube. And the sonotube is buried in the slab and goes down 36 inches below the slab, but there's no concrete in it yet. So it will eventually be filled with concrete, and then there'll be 3 bolts sticking out of the top that will fit on the metal pier that I'm going to bolt to that.
Just out of curiosity, Mr. President, this could be sensitive, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Did you get that approved by the Homeowners Association, of which you used to be president?
Yes.
It's okay.
Didn't involve me.
Oh, that's true.
It's from our L&A committee.
I imagine there's some homeowners associations that wouldn't allow it, but doggone, I think it's great.
We do accommodate what our owners want, as long as it aesthetically fits the theme of the place and doesn't. The big thing is it can't intrude on a neighbor's view, and so I do this with our neighbors, so it's not going to intrude with their view.
Ah, gotcha.
So it's a pull-off roof, and the telescope lays in, I guess it's called Part 2 position by astrophysics. And then the roof will roll off, and then I can tilt the scope up and take pictures.
Well,
When I was building my new house and I had to go through the Board of Architectural Review of the county, my highest roof is 31 feet. And they said, well, isn't that going to interrupt the view of the house in back of you? And I said, yeah. And so I said, so what? I said, I own that house. Oh.
Well, Jerry, do you attend the meetings or are you done? You don't even go to those?
No, I find the meetings were very stressful. I'm very relieved to be off the board. And the problems that they have, if they want to, they can call me for advice. But it's theirs, and good luck. I wish them well.
And I imagine you've described what's going on the Tuesday night workshops we have with a Zoom 7:30 tomorrow night. Tom Totten?
That's good. I'm glad you brought that up. Yep. Tomorrow night, 7:30, contact the webmaster if you want to get involved. And just want to mention that Jim Williams says that it's NORAD is the one that tracks Santa going across the sky. So.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yes, yes.
Always NORAD. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Well, keeping that alive, I guess, I suggest a great gift if you could get to Mrs. McPartland showing our logo here.
Yeah. I think she has a new batch of clothes. I think she ordered. I'm not sure if she's received it or not, but
she's got patches and hats, and these jacket jerseys are just warm as all get out. I don't understand the hood thing. Why do people wear hoods and then they can't see to the left and right? I've never understood that.
Keeps your head and your neck warm.
Yeah, and the eyepiece is only right in front of your eye.
That's true.
and when
the
you're,
major source of heat dissipation in your body is your head.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So your head gets cold, you feel cold. You put a hoodie up and you feel warm, and you feel warm. I wear ski clothes when I do
there you go.
astronomy.
But I want to report on the theater organ next Monday from you, my friend. And Tom Whittemore, we're looking forward to our gift packages for Christmas of freshly baked sourdough bread. And the rest of you, let's do it again for number 42 next week, 11 o'clock in the morning on YouTube. Tom, both Toms, and Bruce and Jerry. We missed Mr. McPartland. We'll find out what happened to him, but let's do it again. The Astro Hour is over, and appreciate it, everybody. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Ron.
Thanks very much.
Good day.
Good night.